It's the Al Travis Show. We've got him, Jerry Groskreutz, in Farmer Extraordinaire, talking all things farming with us. Jerry, how you doing today, my friend?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit lucky for a change.
Lucky? No one's luckier than Jerry. This has been the greatest growing season of all time. Why are you so lucky?
Well, last week I only got 3 inches of rain. And the storms earlier this week, I got 3/10 and 2/10, whereas up some areas got quite a bit more rain. And there was some scattered spots that had some pretty significant wind. Didn't hear about a whole lot of corn damage, but there were some trees and limbs and things down.
I heard, I don't think it's Marshall, 8 inches of rain or some craziness. I mean, that's flat out there. I don't know where 8 inches of rain goes.
It floods for a while. It goes.
Yeah. Now, that being said, we've had at least the last couple nights in southern Minnesota some real storms come through here. The first night, a little rain, nothing that we couldn't handle here at my home, but trees and the rest of that, like you say, branches down. But I don't see any corn issues. My farming buddy I golf with said he really could use 5 to 10 days with nothing coming down out of the skies would help him immensely. Yes?
I would say even stretch that out to maybe 2 weeks.
Okay. So that's where we're at. Well, I was reading something, according to some corn guys, I'm really so I can find it quick. They say that 8.5 million acres, this is the Minnesota corn, is going to be in reproductive phase, doing the wild thing. 74% of the state's corn in good or excellent shape. That's about as big a number as I've seen since you and I have been doing this. You guys are looking good.
Most everybody's looking good, but remember, where was it? Someplace in the state that got like 8 inches of rain.
Yeah, I think it was Marshall. Yeah, I think it was.
Well, middle of June, we got 6.5 in 2 hours. So we got some scars out there, from down spots. But for the most part, a lot of guys' corn looking pretty good. I don't have to head more than maybe 5-8 miles north of the farm, heading home to Lakeville. And I'm happy for the farmers because the corn, the beans look really, really good.
I went on a guy weekend. We went traveling, and we were on I-94 forever. And we looked. I said, look, find a bald spot out there. Every lick of ground was covered with corn leaves or something. And then the radio guy, I don't know who it was, don't remember, was talking about corn sweat. Is that a thing?
Well, it respires, and, it's taking in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, photosynthesis, storing the sun's energy, and then it expels oxygen. And I guess you could say kind of it does sweat, but you mentioned the reproductive phase. That's when the pollen is dropping from the tassel, get caught by the silks on the developing ear, and then fertilizes that little egg that turns into the kernel of corn.
Okay.
And I would have preferred a little cooler temperatures.
Me too.
Most fields are kind of finishing up pollination right now. And corn likes to rest at night. From the really hot temperature of the day, we like to see it get down to 70 degrees, even lower. And I've seen some pollination issues in the past when it gets really hot during the day and then stays really hot at night. But I don't think, or hopefully it's not too severe. I'll let you know in another week or two because then I can go out and see what the developing ears actually look like.
Okay, and it seems like things might have broke a little bit. We're down 10 or 15 degrees. Humidity's still up there, but I think we're going to be manageable for the next 4 or 5 days where the temp does dip down in the 60s, at least for some Minnesota, for some length of time at night. That'll give you guys some reprieve?
Yeah, it definitely will, and I'm hoping for lows in the upper 60s and highs in the low 80s next week, too, for Farm Fest.
Well, I was going to ask you about Farm Fest. That's next week. You're heading out, where's this thing at?
It's at the Gilfillan Estate near Redwood Falls, and I'll be moderating a panel Tuesday afternoon looking at what can be done to spur better, more stable economic activity, because it's pretty tough being a farmer right now. Corn and bean prices are pretty low.
Jerry, I think you punched a button on your phone. I think you just muted, Jerry.
Producers are making a little money. Corn and soybeans, maybe they're making money at our expense this year because we've got some pretty low prices.
And is that because, it's two. One is tariffs. We're worried about tariffs. You're good now. I hear you now. The tariffs. Or is this just because everybody's got such good crops, the futures are down? What's causing your
To
corn
tell you the
issues?
truth, Al, I don't think tariffs have that much to do with it. It's just that everybody is expecting an all-time record yield of corn and soybeans by a number of bushels an acre. So the market is factoring in this massive crop. We'll see if we get there. It's still a long time between now and the corn showing up in the bin.
Well, and it is. Anything bad can happen, I understand. But when now, with the perfect growing conditions we've had, when would you suspect people start pulling that stuff out? When does harvest start? Mid-August?
No, it'll still be very, very late September into October. Although I remember one year, I think it was a pretty dry year, some farmers were combining corn during the Minnesota State Fair. The
See
State
that?
Fair was still going on, and it was really hot and it was really humid. They ended up taking that corn back out of the bin and drying it again because it started to go out of
Go back.
condition. You
Gotcha.
always point out how old I am. I can only remember once or twice that I was combining beans in September, and I've never combined corn in September. It's always October.
All right, fair enough. Well, you're the guy, you would know. So let's do this. Let's go to break. I want to talk to you about Trump and his EU trade agreement and the tariffs. Oh, this is good news for Jerry. He's happy. He's finally happy at Trump. We'll talk with him in a second, right after this on the Al Travis Show. It is the Al Travis Show. We've got him, Jerry Groskreutz, on talking all things farming. So you get Trump. He comes on TV and he says, we got a deal with the European Union. We're going to have pretty much reciprocating tariffs, 15% both ways. I'm thinking that's got to make Jerry happy. That's got to open up all the EU. You get to fight it out with the British farm guy to see who can do it best. And then I read that actually some agricultural products, according to this agreement, 0 for 0 tariffs. Jerry, you and the American farmer will go toe-to-toe with any country. I'm telling you, you don't care. Let's go get them, buddy.
That's pretty much it, Al. I've never traveled to Europe, but I've talked to people that have, and I've read about it. And they have little fields, little machinery and equipment. They cannot at all compete with the scale that we have in this country. So I'm a little optimistic that it might help.
Oh, wow. Jerry is optimistic. You think it's going to help. It should average $32.9 billion in sales in through 2024. That's a lot. That's the U.S. is the second largest export destination for your product. And now with it being even Steven, no tariffs on it, watch out. You're going to make money hand over fist, buddy.
Well, let's just say, Al, I've been around the block a few times. I'm a little optimistic, but I'll believe it when I see it.
All right. Well, it's fair enough. Okay. And I get that. Here's the other one, which I had no clue was something we were going to worry about, but we are. Are you going to go to the August 1st, what do they call it? Minnesota Africans United meeting in St. Paul? Entrepreneurs, business owners, according to M. Shale. Corporate leaders looking to amass beneficial information on doing business with Africa. They're all coming together for an investment meeting in St. Paul next week. You should be there, Jerry. You should be the guy leading the charge for soybeans in Africa. I love this call.
Well, maybe I'll have to go up and check it out, but I don't know a whole lot about Africa. But what I do know, it seems to me there's a lot of hungry people there. So maybe we could help.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to know about Africa. Just need to know anybody hungry because we'll feed you. We'll take care of you there. You could be there and doing that. Other things going on in your life. Farm Fest you're getting ready for next week. Are there not county fairs that you need to be doing your radio job for at the same time as Farm Fest?
Yep, it's a busy week next week because we'll be over at the Goodhue County Fair going on and have to hit the Dakota County Fair, which is going on next week too. So it's going to be a busy week with frequent road miles.
Oh, yeah. Would you go out and come back from Farm Fest? Or you go out there and stay?
No, I drive back and forth every day. Get done at Farm Fest about 5 o'clock. Drive to Lakeville, get to the studio a little before 4:30 the next morning, and then about 8 o'clock or so, head back to Farm Fest.
And I get the Farm Fest because you're a big deal out there, but the county fairs, you just sitting in a booth shaking hands? What do you do when you get to the county fairs? Are you doing cow judging and that sort of thing?
No, I'll have a bunch of sponsored interviews to do, talking with the 4-H kids, the FFA kids, like all next week. Our news director, Gordy, will be at the Goodhue County Pork Producers Food Stand on Wednesday and Thursday, and I'll be there Friday and Saturday. And let the record show those of us in radio cannot be bought, but we can be rented, especially at a pork stand.
All right, that sounds fantastic. I love that. Anything else going on in your life? The
Well, I finally got my peas harvested, what little they were, and then my pork producing neighbor is going to be fertilizing the future cornfield for next year, and then I'll have to get a cover crop planted on that. But that'll probably have to wait till after next week because I'm a little preoccupied with two county fairs and Farm Fest.
So how does this work with Birdseye? So 2 years ago, you had the misfortunate incident of insecticide going over this. They X'd it out. You got them in early this year, and you said things went crappy with the crop. Got too much rain. They got root rot or something. They're going south. But some peas were harvestable, and do they even play with? Go ahead.
There were some very good yields on the peas, and they also got dinged a little bit because remember early June we had a couple, 3, 4 days of really hot temperatures again.
Yeah.
Yep. And well, when they're setting up their schedule and how much we plant each day, they're figuring on average weather. Well, they got caught a little bit because now all at once you've got 100-degree temperatures. So too many fields ended up ready all at the same time.
Oh.
And they had to skip some of those because they're getting too hard. Well, you're just going to have to skip some fields and kind of get back on schedule. But your crop insurance helps pay for that. And then all the growers pay into a pool. And they can take, I believe it is up to 5% of whatever our payment is to go into the pool. And if it's more than that, then Birdseye makes up the difference. So it's all kind of a shared risk type thing.
Okay, well, let me ask you this because I thought your peas were done for. I thought you said they were.
Yeah.
So what is an average yield, a bucket of or bushel of peas would you normally get, and what did you get out of it, if I might ask?
My proven yield is 2,500 pounds. That's what my guarantee was.
Per acre, is that what you're saying?
They plant, if I'm not mistaken, because it's been a lot of years since I planted peas, because now they plant them with their big fancy drill. But I used to plant about 250 pounds of peas an acre, and you're hoping for 3,000 pounds, a ton and a half. Well, last year it was a zero, and this year they did take some here and there. When they were done, the field averaged 80 pounds an acre.
Oh, so does that even get worth it? This is where I was going. Does that even worth their time to bring the guy out and get the machine head on and add gas and then go get it?
That's I wondered about that too. Is it even worth it? But it's up to them. Maybe they wanted to get every case of peas that they could. But I knew there was no month and a half ago. I knew there was no way I was going to beat my guarantees. So it was going to be another crop insurance. The tough part is that's 2 years in a row now. My peas have been basically a total loss. But you know why I'll plant peas next year, Al?
Because you like the Birdseye gal.
Because next year might be the perfect weather and it could be the best all-time yield ever.
Well, let me ask you this. Just you have like 40 acres or something of peas, if I'm not mistaken. Will they do they harvest the whole thing, getting anything they can, or do they just go to some sections they can see there's nothing there, let it just sit and rot on the vine? Do they hunt and peck?
Well, they went where there was peas, but there were some pretty big areas that there were no peas because a little area drowned it out, and then root rot set in and it spread. So where there was nothing there, they just went around that. So I don't think it took them very long. But I did catch a break there. I heard that they pulled out of the field at about midnight, and the downpour started at 1 o'clock. And I was thinking before that there was thought of heavy rain. And Sabrina had said, we'll be in there late tonight, tomorrow morning. I thought, be just my luck. almost no peas there. We'll get 2 or 3 inches of rain, and the rut mud the field all up to get 100 pounds of peas an acre. They didn't have to, so I did catch a break there too.
I'll always like you seeing the positive side. Jerry, I got to fly. I'm out of time. No, I love having you in. We'll do it again next week, my friend.
All right, stay out of trouble.
All the best I can. He's Jerry Groskreutz, farmer extraordinaire, talking all things farming with us on the Al Travis Show.